This video is brought to you by Project Management Solutions Limited, a Bahamian business committed to showing you ways to use project management skills to make your life better. You're progressing well with your project. So far, you have categorized and prioritized your requirements, created a plan to manage your requirements, determined what is included and excluded from your project, broken down your work into packages, listed your activities, sequenced your activities, determined your estimated resources and duration requirements for your activities, and now you're on to creating your project schedule. At the end of this module, you should be able to schedule time to complete each activity, estimate how much it will cost to complete each scheduled activity, and determine the budget. After confirmation that your network diagram is complete and logical and that all activities are represented, you can input that information into a project software scheduling tool like Microsoft Project. Let me show you what I mean. So this is what we refer to as a network diagram. Each one of these boxes are considered activities, and this is the sequence. And the sequence of the activities is what we call schedule logic or logic. This is what needs to be done before input into a schedule. A project schedule is the result of defining activities, sequencing activities, estimating activity resources, and estimating activity duration as it is used to assist you with managing your project. On a project, just like in any other aspect of life where securing capital is required, it is necessary to develop cost estimates for all resources for each scheduled activity. Resources include labor, materials, equipment, services, facilities, inflation allowance, and contingency cost. The process of estimating costs includes weighing alternative options and examining risks and trade-offs. After looking at the budget, you may consider some alternatives such as make versus buy versus lease, and sharing resources either across the projects or departments. Remember to include all costs associated with the project over its entire life cycle as a part of your cost estimates. Cost estimates are usually expressed in units of some currency, for example, dollars. Other units of measure, such as days or staff hours, may be used to facilitate comparisons, eliminating the effects of fluctuations. The process of estimating costs includes weighing alternative options and examining risks and trade-offs. After looking at the budget, you may consider some alternatives, such as should you make or buy? Should you buy or lease? Or should you consider sharing resources either across projects or departments? Remember to include all costs associated with the project over its entire life cycle as a part of your cost estimates. Cost estimates are usually expressed in units of some currency, for example, dollars. Other units of measure, such as days or staff hours, may be used to facilitate comparisons, eliminating the effects of fluctuations. Information from a host of other areas may be used when estimating costs. Project documents such as the scope statement and the work breakdown structure that you took hours to compile will come in handy right about now. Information on key deliverables, constraints, and assumptions may be necessary when estimating costs. Use the information from the project schedule, such as the type and quantity of resources and the amount of time that those resources are applied. These are major factors when determining costs. You will also need to look in the external environment in which your project operates to discover additional factors such as market conditions and regional or global supply and demand conditions that may also influence cost. Schedule some appointments with subject matter experts to get valuable information on costs that relate to labor rates, material costs, inflation, risk factors, and other variables. Experts may often provide valuable insight about the environment and information from prior similar projects. If you can't speak with an expert, what are alternative ways of gathering this information? Perhaps you can review some records from previous projects that are similar in scope, cost, budget, and duration to the one that you're presently working on. You may also need to think about a contingency allowance, referred to as reserve analysis, a technique that may be used to account for cost uncertainty. You may use a percentage of the estimated costs as a contingency reserve. As more precise information about the project becomes available, you may use the contingency reserve, or you may reduce or eliminate it completely. You must remember to clearly identify the contingency reserve in the cost determination. The next step is to determine the project budget, add activity cost estimates, and establish a cost performance baseline that will be used as a measurement tool for the project. Only the costs associated with the project become a part of the authorized budget, which will be used to allocate costs to each one of those activities necessary to produce the deliverable. Let's take some time to discuss what we learned in this module. Discussion questions. What is meant by project costs? Why is completing all activities related to each work package on a project important to determine project costs? What are some ways that you may go about costing activities? How do you determine what budget you will need to complete each activity? What options may be available if you run out of money on a project, and what documents are produced as a result of project costing?